What is Local Law 88? It is part of the New York Greener, Greater Buildings Plan Initiative, which targets energy efficiency in large existing buildings in New York City. It is groundbreaking policy. It's one of the most progressive regimes in the United States and one of the first to require sub-metering as well as a focus on lighting. It is intended to transform the way electricity is used in New York City, period, and is structured to force a dramatic impact on this process. Local Law 88 mandates sub-metering in any building over 50,000 square feet in overall space by 2025, or 2 or more buildings on the same tax lot that together exceed 100,000 gross square feet, or 2 or more buildings held in the condominium form of ownership that are governed by the same board of managers and that together exceed 100,000 gross square feet. Specifically, tenants over 10,000 square feet must be sub-metered, and floors over 10,000 square feet with 2 or more tenants must be sub-metered. You can get a complete list of buildings affected by Local Law 88 at www.nyc.gov, along with a list of exceptions. So, why is New York implementing Local Law 88? It's all about planning ahead. We have all done very well for the past 100 years on the back of inexpensive energy, but now we're in a real transition period. Fossil fuel prices continue to rise rapidly. Demand is outstripping supply, and increased power generation capacity is extremely expensive to build. We don't need to discuss the massive amount of literature and analysis that supports the theory behind Local Law 88. It's sufficient to simply recognize that one of the fastest and most cost-effective remedies to our current deficit in power generation is something called megawatts. The megawatt is a play on the word megawatt, which is a unit of power consumption. Negawatt implies the lack of consumption. In many power consumption scenarios today, building owners are billed for actual electricity used, while tenants are billed a fixed rate, no matter how much they consume. The power consumer is shielded from the power of the price signal. We can all agree that this is a very bad scenario. Tenants have no incentive to conserve under this scenario, while the property manager / owner gets the pain. However, when tenants pay directly for their energy use, overall building consumption drops on average by 20%. In fact, many tenants experience between 30 and 60% decreases in their energy bills. That's an impressive savings that's comparable to installing an entire building automation system or changing all the windows in an office tower at a fraction of the cost. Put another way, for every 5 buildings that are sub-metered, an entirely new building can be powered from the savings alone. Just in case we haven't brought the point home enough, consider that prices are rising and will continue to rise. If Con Edison's most recent application for rate increases is approved, New York City will have rates among the highest in America, with estimates of increases ranging from 9 to 16% in 2017. So, while at first appearances, the problem which may have brought you to this webinar was trying to understand the burden of Local Law 88 compliance, which does fall on property owners, and certainly compliance means an investment of money and time. I'm hoping that we've reframed things a bit for you now, and that you see that the real problem is rising energy costs and the property manager's limited ability to pass those costs on those costs onto the ones who control most of that consumption, the tenants. So turning that thinking on its head, let's think about Local Law 88 as an opportunity. An opportunity to get control of costs by reducing one of your largest controllable operating expenses, electricity. An opportunity to boost your bottom line by removing utilities from your books. And an opportunity to increase your property value, as it is well known that buildings seen as making efforts on the green side command higher leasing rates. To this end, Local Law 88 encourages efficiencies that save money by installing submeters for tenants and disaggregating building services such as elevators, HVAC, common lighting, etc. Building owners can reduce energy waste by gaining detailed visibility into their energy usage. Owners will be able to detect off-hours consumption, benchmark similar systems and locations, identify unseen problems, and predict failures and operational anomalies through real-time alerts. Extensive studies by the Federal Energy Management Program have shown higher visibility and continuous commissioning programs can easily reduce consumption by 15 to 45%. The energy consumption data that building owners will readily have access to will subsequently improve their maintenance operations and help them capitalize on savings potential. In short, the return on investment is huge. Let's cut to the chase. The best way to reduce consumption and make better use of the power generation we have is to give tenants full visibility of their usage. The primary instrument for doing that is the submeter. Let's quickly recap the benefits of submetering. Tenants pay only for the electricity they use. Tenants can account for their own consumption, conserve energy, and subsequently lower their bills. Property owners can identify failing equipment, monitor building processes to increase energy efficiency, increase property value, and experience an overall reduction in energy costs. So given submetering is a logical and beneficial activity for property owners to undertake, let's talk about some of your submetering options. First, you can choose between single point or multi-point meters. Next, you can choose to have networked submeters or not. Lastly, you can choose revenue grade submeters or not. Let's look at each choice. Single point versus multi-point. Single point meters are useful for measuring specific points of interest in a building and have long been used in the building management space. But to gain enough knowledge to make successful energy management decisions, complete building coverage is required. This would require a tremendous amount of single points. In these situations, multi-point meters offer several advantages related to cost, deployment, and integration over single-point meters. Because of the density advantage, multi-point meters offer a lower cost per meter point than single-point meters. Additionally, tenant moves are easy to accommodate as building configurations can change, up to 70% in some commercial settings. The next question, networked or not? It seems like a silly question, but there are many meters out there that are manually checked. And if you own them, you know what a problem they are. We know of major facilities where there are hundreds of meters that have been totally orphaned and forgotten. Billing meters, that's lost revenue. So the answer is networked, of course. But the question is not totally about the absence of networking, but perhaps more about what kind of networking. Many older meters use old two-wire building automation technology like RS-485. This is pretty limited from the perspective of options for integrating with other systems. Modern communication technology is local area network based, Ethernet or wireless, and definitely IP-centric. This enables both building automation system integration and, in our opinion, the way of the future, cloud-based management. Modern submetering systems promise to turn properties into intelligent buildings, bridging the energy information gap by easily connecting with building automation systems and IT-based financial and energy management systems, and making consumption data visible to all stakeholders. In this graphic, we show how PowerHawk meters can simultaneously communicate directly with the cloud, where Triacta, for instance, provides a software as a solution service called PowerHawk Manager, while simultaneously being available for reading by multiple building automation systems. On top of this, the PowerHawk meter takes 2 pulse inputs from any mechanical meter and integrates these readings to be presented over a single interface to the cloud or the building automation system. Finally, the cloud is not only good for single properties, but also across entire portfolios. The last decision, revenue grade or not. There's a growing wave of regulation throughout the United States focused on the metering of electrical consumption. Simply put, if money changes hands, as with government incentive programs or tenant billing, for example, certified meters become a legislative requirement. Regulatory bodies are using the tried and true ANSI C12.20 0.5 class 5 accuracy class as the standard meters must meet, and requiring third-party laboratory certification to prove that they do. For our part, Triacta's PowerHawk meters are compatible with these certifications and have been certified to ANSI C12.20 Class 0.5 standard by third-party testing. For residential submetering in New York City, meters must be certified by the New York Public Service Commission, which uses the ANSI C12.20 Class 0.5 standard as its basis. The Triacta manufactured Leviton Series 8000 was among the first multi-point meters to gain that certification. Triacta's own PowerHawk labeled meter is currently in the certification process. In addition to ANSI C12.20 Class 0.5 approved meters, savvy property owners are installing open systems standards-based meters, which means they can easily integrate into existing energy management, tenant billing, and building automation systems. Open systems really refer to non-proprietary communications model. Older meters often require a proprietary collector. The flexibility of interfacing over Internet protocols, IP, whether to a building automation system or to the cloud, is very important. This allows for maximum flexibility in the platform used to manage the system and other technologies that it interfaces with. As previously mentioned, every Triacta meter simultaneously communicates with building automation systems over industry standard BACnet IP or Modbus TCP IP to multiple master devices, and also is a native IP device that can obtain an IP address when plugged into an Ethernet jack, just like your computer, and start communicating directly to a cloud service. So perhaps the most important question right now, when should you jump into this? Local Law 88 requires all buildings over 50,000 square feet to be submetered by 2025. Believe it or not, that's not very far off. Many leases are for 10 years, and we are into the span of when these actions should have already started for these new leases. Also, as mentioned, electricity is getting expensive very quickly. Prices in the U.S. have risen conservatively 25% over the past 5 years and are projected to rise another 50% over the next 5 years. So how much does it cost to delay? A couple of years ago, Phil Davis of Schneider Electric put together a study of the cost of delay. According to Davis, for a typical 300,000 square foot building with an annual utility bill of $600,000, the cost of delaying energy management initiatives for 1 year is $360,000. The cost of delaying 5 years is a whopping $2.3 million. Here's a simpler example. Take office space of 50,000 square feet at a typical electricity consumption of around $3 per square foot per annum. Total electricity cost per annum without demand charges, $1.5 million. The annual savings opportunity, if you target, say, a 10% reduction, is $150,000. At a 15% reduction, $225,000. And at a 25% reduction, which is really recognized as the middle of the road for any kind of a continuous commissioning process, $375,000. Any business, small, medium, or large, can benefit from an energy management program with energy consumption accounting for up to 1/4 of a business's annual operating budget. And energy costs expected to continue to increase year over year. The potential opportunity in cost savings and increased profit margin are huge. So I'm sure you're constantly interested in what your peers are doing about this. Tishman Speyer is one of the world's biggest property managers. They're very progressive, and in fact won the 2016 Energy Star Partner of the Year for energy savings efforts. Jonathan Flaherty is Director of Sustainability and Energy at Tishman Speyer and handles all sustainability, energy purchasing, and metering for the company. We asked him a couple of questions regarding one of Tishman Speyer's showcase properties, Rockefeller Center. Rockefeller Center is one of the most recognized commercial properties in the world, encompassing 6 square blocks and rising 70 stories above Midtown Manhattan. At this property, Tishman Speyer is using Triactive PowerHawk meters as the multi-point metering solution, where this type of metering can fit. There are also single point meters throughout the property where required. The following slides are Jonathan's summary of the project and underscores much of what we believe to be the new standard for best building practices around metering. So what was the end goal? Number 1, to ensure that Tishman Speyer were collecting 100% of the collectible revenue. Number 2, to give tenants the ability to see their power usage in real time so that they could make intelligent choices. Number 3, to create a one-stop solution that will provide all metering needs for years to come without additional investment. So how did they do it? They hired an integration firm to design a clean sheet approach to metering tenant loads in each building. The design ensured 100% of all revenue tenant points were metered, and Tishman Speyer installed extra capacity in the form of extra unused ports on their multi-channel meters so that they could flip a floor from single-tenant to multi-tenant with only current transformer installations. Tishman Speyer installed a backbone up and down each building to network all of the meters together and then out onto the internet. So what did Tishman Speyer get at the end? They got a full real-time tenant revenue load metering solution with extra capacity for future expansion. A flexible, open protocol system that can be read by any vendor. In other words, not locked into one vendor for reading and billing in the future. And real-time diagnostics to allow them to see any faults, errors, or problems in minutes instead of weeks. So what is the ultimate solution? Where is Tishman Speyer going next? They want to use the system to measure plant and equipment and other common base building loads to improve the efficiency of the building. And finally, to connect these meter points to the building management system to enable further automatic building control. As you can see, almost a textbook execution of everything we've described. And they've been doing it for several years and are seeing the results in spades right now. So that's it. We will open up the floor now to questions.
All right, Gord, thank you very much. And you actually just answered the most asked question. Do you have any New York City customers? And I'm going to actually help you answer this. I was at a Con Ed Market Partners sub-metering presentation a couple months ago, and Dan Egan from Vornado was speaking on how they're using sub-meters over there. And let me look at my notes here. They've been sub-metered since 2000, and it's included in their leasing language. They've discovered ways to save by accident. I love that one. They do sub-metering for CHP, peak shaving, cost recovery, and savings. They use it as a cost recovery mechanism, not as a profit center. And the big one here, they have $53 million in electric spends, and they now have $22 million recovered by tenants. So that's over 40% reduction that they've accomplished by sub-metering their tenants and making them accountable for their energy use. So why don't you tell us a little bit how you see the New York City sub-metering market and give us a little perspective from your end.
Well, frankly, Frank, sorry, the market has really exploded. We're getting a lot of inquiries, and we see a lot of buildings, RFPs, including sub-metering, and getting a lot of requests. I think 2015 and 2016 are going to go down as the years that sub-metering really took off, not only in New York, but all across the U.S. I really think that property managers are completely embracing it.
Great. And all right, next question. Who is Triacta? I know you guys are a bunch of telecom experts who put the networking side of the product first, but give us a little background on Triacta.
Yeah, Triacta, we're a 13-year-old company. We're based out of Canada. We have done very well in Canada in terms of residential multi-tenant market. We're one of the leaders. So we've got some. We've done very well in meeting all the requirements of revenue grade metering and fairly strict regulatory regime up here at Measurement Canada. we have been working selling meters in the U.S. for about 7 years now, mostly in commercial settings, with the residential and multi-tenant billing side really taking off in the past couple of years. We have a lot of distribution partners and system integration partners down in the U.S., a couple of OEM partners, one being Leviton, Leviton 8000, and the other being Schneider Electric with the EM4800. Those are manufactured by us. And really looking to expand a lot more aggressively in the U.S. at this point.
Great. Okay, next question here. How many points are there in a multi-point? I guess it's a good time to talk about how you can stage the installations and the efficiencies with the multi-point, Gord. What do you have to say there?
Well, it depends. There are smaller multi-points and bigger ones. It can range. And when we talk points, we typically are talking about, let's call it the CT, right? So our 6312 takes 24 CTs. That can be divided into 8 three-phase circuits, or it can be divided into 12 two-phase circuits, which is more typical in a residential setting. So in other words, you'd be measuring 12 suites. Or if you're in a data center application or more of a monitoring application, that can represent 24 single points. You plug it into Ethernet, and you can either read the port via from a Modbus or a BACnet IP master, or you can simultaneously push the information into the cloud via CSV files with a specified reporting period.
Okay, great. Now, I think you may have answered some of this, but a question here is how many three-phase circuits can you manage per PowerHawk, and is it multi-source? You mentioned you use CT clips for electric and 2-pulse, so I take it has a pulse for gas and water.
Yeah, that's the point. And it's 8 three-phase circuits. And the 2-pulse inputs could be any kind of a meter with pulse input, output. Could be the main electrical meter for the building, could be a water meter, a gas meter, BTU meter. That information is integrated into the same information stream as the 8 three-phase meters, and then passed to whatever system that is reading. You could typically you move one of these up to a panel, and you focus on a particular panel for all 8 or 12 or 24 circuits. But if the panels are fed from the same transformer, you can monitor services in multiple panels, and the CTs can actually be 100 yards away from the system itself. So say running up a conduit or something like that.
Okay. And next question, can you elaborate on HVAC submetering, especially VRF submetering? Is that too specific, Gord, or can you handle that one?
Well, in terms of HVAC, again, we're monitoring at the panel, so where the HVAC is being fed, and in HVAC cases, it's usually a delta load. So, if we were looking at a bunch of HVAC, one PowerHawk would actually be able to monitor 12 loads. I don't know what more to say about that. It's just an electrical service to us.
Okay. Can you tell us something about the software that comes with the PowerHawks?
Yeah, we have a cloud-based management platform. Some of our partners use in-building building control or aggregator boxes to collect the information directly from the PowerHawk, but we prefer the cloud-based solution. You can use both. We bundle it with the software, with the meter. The PowerHawk Manager is really focused on managing the meters, making sure that they're operating properly, helping you to deploy large numbers of these meters. So there are lots of tools for installation and diagnostics. We do have some analytics features to it, so you can look at the power graphs and things like that. We do have a billing package, so you could generate bills out of it, but we try to keep the features on those things at a minimum, because one of our other goals is to partner with a lot of different third-party applications out there. We let them focus on putting together the features on analytics and billing, and we just focus on collecting the data, presenting it to other applications, and allowing you to have as many stakeholders in the ecosystem participate in looking at that data as possible.
Okay. Next question. Oh, this is a good one. Who do I contact in the U.S. for information and sales?
The head of sales in the U.S. is a gentleman named Mark Hansen. Mark, M-A-R-K, Hansen, H-A-N-S-E-N, @triacta.com. We have a lot of partners. I won't go into them, but Mark can easily forward you to the appropriate partner.
Okay, great. I have one more question here I just missed before. What if I own other sub-meters? Can I mix and match?
Absolutely. There's what you won't get is you won't get them under the same management system in terms of if you're using the PowerHawk Manager. We try to focus on specifically Triacta equipment, but if you have another building management system that communicates using BACnet IP or Modbus TCP/IP, or even talks RS-485, you can subtend the PowerHawk meters under that management system and look at your whole footprint of meters. No problem.
Okay, fantastic. So, Gord, it looks like we've taken care of the questions and answers that I can see. I believe I got everyone, and we do have a gorgeous day, so we are fighting. People may want to go out in the park or something. So I want to thank everyone for joining us. Some people did ask about recording the webinar. We did record it. I was a little tardy with the start recording button, but I got most of it, so we'll see if we can fix it up or anything. But bear with us. We'll let you know about that. And please contact me or Triacta if you have any questions. Frank at EE Reports, Mark Hansen at Triacta. We'll send out information if you need anything. So thanks again, and have a great day. Goodbye.
Good afternoon.